I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed.
Yes, that a child shall
dear
lead them.
listener. Trance is a bit too loud there.
It's too
Let's
loud?
see. Well, I put the trance on. Shout out to all our Twitch, Twitter people. We are
holding it strong.
Yeah, we're going strong. We've can you check YouTube again? It was completely
Oh yeah, it shut down completely and moved on to the next video.
Perfect. Because the fascists,
I can double check again. Just
the fascist bastards over at YouTube. It's not really YouTube. It's the record labels. Okay, guys, we've got one more song and one more band for you guys tonight before we go off to hang out with our kids, our chillin'. The name of that band is 1914.
Yeah, I think this is... Whew.
And the name of the song is...
And a cross now marks his place.
And a cross
that
now
sounds
marks
like it's going
his
to be a
place.
tearjerker.
From the good folks at Napalm
Here they
Records.
are.
From the big homie Metlcat. Okay, guys, Metlcat. And here we go. A cross now marks his place. I think it's a lyric video too, so let's check it out.
It's supposed to be an official.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fear.
attack was successful, and our guns reached and established new position. Later in the night, the enemy shout our
that's a... The song, it wasn't sad like I thought it was going to. It was kind of like a...
Just give me a second.
Oh, I didn't know there was more. I can't read it.
Damn. So that was the big homie. The band itself posted this on their Facebook page. Like this is him.
Wow.
And that is,
What did it say at the end? Because it's not on YouTube.
it was all
I couldn't
this.
See.
Son of Joseph
Oh,
Harrison
okay.
of
All right.
Kennington Road in London. And the late Susan. So that letter was written to his father. Because she'd been dead by the time, but
The mother had passed away?
yeah.
Oh.
So that's the big homie there.
But they originally
They originally what?
put it to the mother because the intro says "Dear Mother."
Yeah. Good Lord.
Wow. What
a sad.
What do they say if, like when they were saying like what happened to him, like what if, I'm sure it's easier to tell somebody we accomplished something, whatever, and your son was, but it would accomplish the goal.
Yeah.
Like rather than just, some freak happenstance when there's really nothing to celebrate. Do they tell people the truth?
I mean, it depends. What do you mean?
I mean,
if the guy died,
what if
he died badly, most of the times you just lie.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Well, not even just like, okay, he went out and he was terrified, but like, what if he was like really competent and then something went wrong and he did something wrong and he misfired and then he hit his comrade, like, and then he ended up getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it was a situation like that? Would they say, oh, well, he killed his comrade before he went out? They don't give them those details, right? They only try to...
Yeah,
would they add like a heroic story in?
Well, no, they're not going to add fake heroism into the story, but they're not gonna, I don't write those letters, so.
What I'm saying is, what if like that? There's a reason why the term "friendly fire" exists. Like, what if your son died because of friendly fire? Were they going to tell you that his comrade shot him?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's blue on blue, I mean, those things are kind of hard to cover up because there's people around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god!
But like, for example, the movie Lone Survivor.
Yep.
Like, one of the deaths they prettied up very well. Mm-hmm. Because the guy didn't die well. Mm-hmm. So.
Excuse me.
And the vast majority of that movie, as you know,
not completely accurate.
No, there were not 200 dudes fighting for. That's not what happened. There's about 8 or 9 of them.
Oh, no.
So, the guy died the year that the war ended. It's one of those.
That's.
And it looked like a kind of like a freak thing too. It didn't look like the enemy was like really coming after him, but
Right.
I hear what you're saying. It's just it's I'm glad that I don't write those letters. But yeah, there's lots of lies that get told, man. I was with your son, blah blah blah. He said, I love you, yada yada. That a lot of times that's not what's happening. Dudes are yelling, screaming, saying, "Am I gonna die?" Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
They're not. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean that makes sense. Because they don't know if they're gonna die, so they don't even know if they should be saying their last words. They're trying to find out.
No,
if
they know
are.
they're gonna die.
Oh, they do know?
Yeah, a lot of those guys know they're gonna die. But like, you're not gonna tell your mom that. You're not gonna say
He knew. Yeah.
You're not gonna say like he was panicking and he was saying, please help me, and you were 10 yards over there and you didn't do anything to help him because if you did, they'd kill you. And you're not gonna say that.
Right.
You're gonna say, oh, he's talking about you and all that, and then he just kind of faded. He went to sleep. That's why they said, his death was instantaneous, and in that situation, it probably was. It's just, It's just horrible, man. It's you know.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching this. It was Patton. You know, my stepdad used to love watching these war movies, and I never understood why. You know, until I became an adult. But he
Was he in the military?
Yeah, he was in the Marine Corps.
Okay, yeah.
During Vietnam, he was in the Marine Corps. So like he you know, the guy was like, you know, I'm ready to die for my, you know, he was an officer. He's like, he was going to officer school, and it was, you know, about all the training that they have before they go out. And the guy's like, I'm ready to die for my country, yada yada yada. And the guy said, you're an officer, so it's not about whether or not you're willing to die for your country. It's whether or not you're willing to send other men to die for their country.
Oh God. Ooh boy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is a different kind of situation.
That is a different situation. Yes, that is.
That is a different situation because, especially in these world wars, like when you listen to hardcore history, like there were so many times when it was just like you're just sending these guys into a meat grinder, and it's basically who's gonna blink first, and you're just sending like waves upon waves and hundreds of kids. You're sending them to their deaths.
Yeah.
And you know you're sending them to their deaths.
You see that when, like, we'll see, you know, where everybody's lined up in the front and they were all advancing. And it's like, well, you know everybody in the front is going down.
Yeah.
So
you're going to die, bro.
Who decides who's going to go there? And
yeah, the guy had the little whistle. And you saw the clip. Like, the guy kept doing this. He was down. He got. I actually saw that documentary. He had gotten clipped, like, through his chest. And he went straight down. And he's, you know, you saw him on the ground doing this. He's pushing everybody forward until he died. And then you got to the point where dudes were like, guys were in the back and they had pistols. And it's like, if you went backwards, they shoot you. And, you know, it sounds brutal, but
if they're allowed to retreat when they're not supposed to, then it's going to put everybody else at jeopardy. So they have to do that. So they have to, you know, kill a few to get the majority to survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you know, we didn't really.
That's got to be tough though when it's somebody that you've been training with and they've become your brother. And
yeah, you had a confluence of technology with war in World War I and World War II, and we didn't really tactically know how to account for that. So you had all this new technology with old tactics, and so people were just dying in bunches, man.
Oh my gosh.
They were dying in absolute bunches. And now, you know, everybody's become a lot more tactical to adjust to the technology. But back then, they really didn't. And, you know, it's a horrible, horrible situation, man. You know, it's just, it's hell. War is hell. And, you know, like, I've always said, like, I wish I was around during World War I or World War II because those were virtuous wars. They were, in my mind anyway, they were clear-cut bad guys. Which, of course, when you think about the Treaty of Versailles and all the commentary around the Treaty of Versailles, you really can't say that. But Hitler was so much more evil than, you know, and his designs were so much more maniacal that it got to the point where, like, he was clearly somebody that needed to be stopped. And mowing down a whole bunch of those folks, you know, you don't lose any sleep over it. But, you know, modern warfare, you have a singular superpower who's unmatched and cannot be challenged, and you're killing people in, you know, that are wearing, you know, flip-flops.
Right.
You're dead checking a 15-year-old kid in sweatpants, and he looks younger than your kid. So it's just a different kind of, you know. So I've always said, like, oh man, I wish I was in like World War II and shit, because then it's like, I'm killing a Nazi, man.
Right.
And fuck those guys.
Right.
Fuck you and your homie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. It's different. So
yeah.
But at the same time, people just get mowed down in droves, man. Like, you know, like Black Hawk Down was horrible, but like Battle Black Sea, I think it was 23 guys. That was horrible. That was horrible, but that was like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
In a lot of the, you know, trench warfare. I remember C.S. Lewis was talking about, he's in World War I, and one of his buddies got, like, I guess jammed up in the, you know, they put barbed wire or whatever for the trenches and all that, and his buddy was jammed up for the night in the barbed wire, and the enemy wouldn't kill him, but he was hurt. I mean, he was mortally wounded, but he was bleeding out very slowly.
Oh my gosh.
And he was hurt really bad, and he was crying for help, and nobody could help him because that was the tactic that the enemy was using. They would leave him up there, and then you go to help him, they'd pick you off. And
he didn't understand, or is it because he was in pain he couldn't think it through?
Yeah, man, people aren't thinking that when they're dying, bro. It's night, the night falls, and then everything's quiet, and you hear all these legends about wild animals and all this shit. Like you're not trying to, the kid's losing his mind. Like people, you're looking at the end of your life. People are looking at the end of their lives. It's not a cool thing, man.
You think because of the training that the person is gonna know, you know what I mean? But
you can't train somebody to die.
No. But if they know, like, okay, look, if I'm hooked up on here, they can't leave the front lines and come in here, they're going to get killed. You know what I mean? Like, it's obvious to anybody who's not in the barbed wire. Or like when you hear about the hikers, what? Yeah. You're saying the person that's hooked up in the barbed wire keeps calling to them to help and doesn't or does understand that they cannot come.
What I'm saying is when people are facing their own imminent death, especially children, they're beyond rationality.
Oh, yeah.
They're not.
Exactly. That's why I said you can't train somebody for those moments. And like I was reading about this hiker that he had trained and trained. He would he was like older because he had been teaching classes and everything. And he said that, they hit a certain point on the mountain where they either they were going to try to just like kind of hunker down, but they knew they were all going to die, or they were going to try to fight their way off the mountain with the storm and probably die fighting their way out. And they decided, we're going to fight our way out and we're going to try to make it off this mountain. And like everything was failing for them. And he said that there was one point where he was like climbing down and he got hooked, and it was I think his like leg or something was hooked. Whatever it was, everything was all off. And he said that all of a sudden he had been freezing to death before this point, and then he hit a point where he got this rush. Like, I guess your body rushes blood throughout your extremities to warm them because you're dying. And so the blood rushed through his extremities. He felt hot, and so he unzipped his jacket, which he said, I have literally trained so many people, never unzip your jacket because you really are not hot. You are still freezing to death. But he didn't. He unzipped his jacket, contrary to what he had been telling everybody. It didn't matter how much training he had. When he was in that moment of panic, it all went out and see, that's what would really bother me about my friend being in that situation, would be knowing that they don't understand.
I'd just kill him.
Right.
So
that's the most merciful thing to do.
Somebody eventually killed him. But apparently this guy was like so beloved in the unit. They all loved him. He's kind of like a Ben Webb type.
Yeah.
It would take me a very long time to shoot Ben.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, you're thinking to yourself, I can find a way.
Yeah. Oh God.
But the OGs, they were like, nah, y'all can't go anywhere. Because dudes were willing to go. I mean, they were, but those guys, the officers, I mean, they were leading children, these guys.
They were kids. That's
16,
crazy.
17 years old. And the officers weren't much. I mean, they were 28, 29, 30 was the average age.
And again, when you're a kid and you see these war films and you see these 16-year-old boys going off, it doesn't even, because you're young, they look like older men to you. Then when you become in your 30s and you look at these, you're like, these were children.
Yeah, they were kids. They're kids on both sides. I mean, it happened to the Germans too. We used the same tactics. I mean, we don't know those stories because,
right.
They're horrible space alien, terrible people, but it was horrible. It was crazy. Like this, the music itself was really good, but I found myself like almost like guilty enjoying the metal as I'm watching the real life carnage of these people. So I kind of had to like take a moment, and it was cool too because on their Facebook page, the band was like, if you ever go here, take a moment of silence for all the people that died in these ridiculous, senseless wars or whatever. And so it's like you're not supposed to be dancing and rocking to this shit and being all happy and but this is another thing that is kind of unique to metal that I've discovered. Disposable Heroes, there's a real deep tradition of like speaking for these soldiers, these people that died, and in hip hop,
absolutely.
I think the reason that you don't see that in hip hop is because these guys, you're at war all the time. Mm-hmm. So they're not thinking about people in 1914. They're thinking about their homie that just got killed. So I wasn't thinking about any of that shit when I was down there. I was just thinking about like how not to get killed and how to make sure my friends didn't get killed. And if people on the other side died, well, fuck them. But you know,
Wow.
I like once I got away from those people and I started watching the History Channel and I started watching World War. That's when I became like obsessed with the Army Rangers because of what they did in World War II. It was just ridiculous, unbelievable shit that they pulled out. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna be an Army Ranger. Like, so I was able to actually watch history and think about like wars in the past because I was out of that, you know, out of my own war. But in hip hop, like it's not really a dissing hip hop, but it's just these. I mean, think about the last 6 months. You lost Vaughn, you lost
I know.
Dolph, you lost Slim 44. 11 people have
Duck
already been killed
was
behind the
Duck too, right?
There's a blood guy.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like 11 people got killed because of the whole. There's some kid on Twitter that said some dumb shit about Dolph. They killed him. The guy was a comedian. He made a joke about Dolph. They found him and killed him. So like in hip hop, you're at war. And when you talk about the World War, it's not World War I or II. It's about, you know, Tupac and Biggie and East Coast West. We still talk about that shit. Shit happened like 20 years ago. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate about metal is that, you know, it's like, look, man, we're not the only people that have struggled and lost homies, man. These kids, you know, they lost really beautiful people, man. Like this guy, you know, he dies a year the war is over, man. That's fucking horrible. But the song was great. Like the song was
what
great.
Did you think about the vocal
great.
style?
I just felt bad. I just felt like, yo, this is mad disrespectful to just
wanna
be
rock
rocking
out
to this
to-
shit
yeah.
while you're watching. Because this is not like a reenactment. Those are real clips of World War. Like that was real shit. Like so when you saw people get got, that shit really happened. So I wasn't gonna sit there and jam while that shit was going on, but I will say, shout out to 1914. The metal was legit.
I thought that there was. It sounded to me like there was dual vocal styles that were going on the same time. There was like the regular one, and then there was like that demonic one sounding underneath.
Yeah.
And I thought that the message that it conveyed to me was of how like there's war, and then there's like the angle of war that's like so frigged up that we're like, so right here when it said, I had it highlighted. Where did it go? Right here. We will honor him. I trust you. We will honor him. I trust you will feel some consolation in remembering this. His number was 62732. No, there's no consolation in knowing that your son was a number.
I don't know. People find consolation in the weirdest things, you know. I don't know.
But this is what I'm saying about that demonic voice behind the vocals. It was like this. The fact that your son was a number might bring you some form of comfort knowing what number he was.
Yeah.
But there's the regular vocals, but then there's the other ones where it's like, well, that's crazy. It's crazy that the number of your son, the fact that, you see what I'm saying? Like how that could even be conveyed as comfort. But war is messy and war is dark and war is...
Yeah, I think when you lose somebody that close, you want to know everything about him.
Right, but the fact that them being a number brings you comfort because they were in that situation is just like oh my gosh, the fact that your kid even had to be in that situation is dark.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So that
100%.
voice, I think, was good having it there, you know.
Yeah, I.
But I would too. I'd want to know the number. I'd want to know everything.
I thought that they were guessing somebody. I'm gonna
guessing what?
Guessing. There was a guest vocalist. Mm-hmm. I'm going to silent count this one.
I was gonna say I have to silent count it.
It doesn't mean it's bad. Silent count just means that sometimes the song is too sacred to. They couldn't even get the guy's body back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they were just in the middle of the shit, bro. So silent count just means that it's too sacred to rate. But I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed the metal. Like it was a legit, you know. But just halfway through it, I'm like, wait a second, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As Metlcat says, I believe the consolation in that the son always did his duty and fought for his country, referring to the prior lines. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, really? I mean, before that?
There's a big difference between, and no disrespect to anybody because we've lost people like this, but there's a big difference between your son dying of a heroin overdose versus your son dying to
I see. I think you're probably right, Metlcat.
Rescue a girl, you know, who's about to get hit by a car. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Really good song. You know, it was a little choppy getting to it. You know, we figured it out on the whole YouTube situation. Big shout out to Metlcat. Really good song. Really good song selection. Really good taste there, Metlcat.
Mm-hmm.
Big homie. God almighty.
Yep.
My grandma was in a German concentration camp in World War II, cooked and clean, and they let her go when the Russians advanced. Yikes. That's crazy, bro.
Wow.
Shout out to Mama Jakaris, or Grandmama Jakaris, as we say.
Wow.
And you know, look, this is the homie. This is the big homie. Dude's a legit hero. You know, put in a horrible situation and did his duty all the way to the end.
Yep.
So salute to the homie.
Yep.
And salute to real talk, salute to 1914 for all these millions of people that died. Somebody said, you know, you get caught up in statistics and all this, but there are individuals, you know, and sometimes like the number's too big.
Yeah.
And so focusing on one individual does that for the whole, if that makes any sense. So
100%.
shout out to them. I will be looking for the email, Slipknot Sean. Shout out to Metlcat. Shout out to 1914. Shout out
you
to
guys for
anybody
coming out.
that's gave their last. Everybody on every side who gave their last for what they believed in as young men getting put into a situation where they shouldn't have to be.
No.
So, yes, that means everybody. All right, guys. Much love to everybody. And by the way, this is Leela. This is Leela the cat. You know, we gotta give props to Metlcat, but there is also Leela as well. Yes, spreading some good bands to a wider
I'm
audience.
glad you signed in for the last song as well.
Having said that, dear listener, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.